Okay, well, I've got Bonnie joining me here for part 0 of solving linear equations. Okay, so um, well, suppose we have a problem that says we want to solve 4x equals 24. And what this means is 4 times x equals 24. Now, Bonnie, you can just look at this and probably guess what the answer is, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think the answer is?
6.
6, that's right. So we know the answer is going to be x equals 6, but let's try to do it in a systematic way. Now, one thing that you might try to do is get the x on one side and all the numbers on the other, right, Bonnie?
Yeah.
And the... Don't be silly. Okay, so the problem here is that we have a 4, and if the 4 wasn't there, then we'd be okay. But are we allowed to subtract the 4?
No.
No, because if you have 4x and you subtract 4, there's no way to combine those because of the combining like terms, right?
Mm.
So this is not what we want to do. We don't want to subtract 4. What's the other thing that you could do?
You could divide 4.
Divide by 4, right? Because you divide by 4 on that side, and then you divide by 4 on this side. And so you end up with x equals 6, just like we knew. But the principle is that you have 4 times x, right? And then we divide by 4. So if you have 4 times x and you divide by 4, the 4's cancel out. It's kind of like 4x divided by 4, and you can think, okay, the 4 goes away and you're just left with x. Got it? So let's go on to the next one. Next one is -9 equals y minus 8. And we want to know, what does y equal? Now, Bonnie, is this something you could do in your head?
No.
It's a little bit more difficult, isn't it? So we got to do it systematically. Now, we want to try to get the y on one side and all the numbers on the other. So which side do you want to get the y on? The right side or the left side?
The right side.
Yep, it's already there, so let's just keep it on the right side. So what I really need to do is to get rid of this -8, don't I? Because I don't want that on this side. What's the proper way to get rid of the -8?
You add 8.
You add 8. And whatever you do to the right side, you got to do the same thing to the left side. That's the way equations work, right? So what do I get over here on the left? You don't know -9 plus 8?
-1.
-1, because that goes back to the adding and subtracting positives and negatives. So on the left side, I get -1, and on the right side, you get -8 plus 8 is y. So y equals -1. That's the answer. Got it?
Yep.
Let's go on to the next one. All right, the next one says, a little bit more difficult. We got -2s equals 10 minus 3s. Now here, again, we want to get the s's on one side and the 10 and the numbers on the other side. Which side do you want to get the s's onto?
The left.
Let's go for the left. Thank you, Bonnie. All right, so if I want to get the s's over here, the problem is I've got too many s's on the right, don't I? What's the proper way to get rid of this -3s?
No.
You don't know? Well, what's one possibility?
Multiply 3.
You multiply by 3? Well, let's just try it. Let's see if it gets rid of it. So if I multiply the right and left by 3, on the right, what do I have? -6s, right? And on the right, when I multiply this by 3, I've got to distribute it all the way through, right? And I end up with 30 minus 9s. This is like the distributive law in combining like terms. Did I get rid of the s?
No.
No. It's still okay to do that because I did the same thing to both sides. It's not an incorrect thing, but it's just not helping us. So let's get rid of that stuff. Do you have any other guesses, Bonnie?
Divide by 3.
Divide by 3 or -3 or something like that? Well, let's see what happens. Suppose I divide both sides by 3. What is that going to do? Well, that over here negative 2s divided by 3 is going to be negative 2/3 s. And on the right, when I divide by 3, it's kind of like multiplying by a third. And I've got to do 10 divided by 3, and I got to do 3 divided by 3. So this does kind of simplify things because that's a 1, but I still have an s there. So that doesn't really help. So any other ideas, Bonnie? How do I get rid of, if I have negative 3s, and I just want to completely get rid of it, what do I do?
Add 3.
Add 3, okay. But remember, combining like terms, that 3 would combine with the 10, wouldn't it? So what do I want to add instead of 3? 3 s. That's the trick, okay? Because when you combine like terms, you're allowed to do negative 3s plus 3s is 0s. So on the right, I end up with 10 plus 0s, if you want to write that, or it just kind of completely goes away, you see? And on the right, I end up with negative 2s plus 3s. What does that become?
6, 5.
No, it's a negative and a positive, so it's positive 1s. Okay? So s equals 10. That's the answer. Got it? So that's kind of the trick. Let's do one more here before we say time to go to bed, because it's actually after 9. So suppose we have negative 3 minus 3a equals negative 2a. And I want to know, what does a equal? All right. So Bonnie, which side do you want to get the a's onto?
The right.
Okay. Choose the right. Okay, so so that means I need to get rid of this negative 3a. So what do I do to get rid of a negative 3a?
You add 3.
Add 3a. And because of combining like terms, I'm allowed to add the negative 3a and positive 3a together. Whatever I do on the left, I got to do on the right. So on the left, I get negative 3 and no a's. And on the right, I get, again, a. This came out very similar to the last one. But anyway, a is negative 3. Let's go to level 2, or actually let's go all the way to level 4 and try an even harder one. Okay? So, s plus 3 equals negative 2 plus 2s. Which side do you want to get the s's on?
The right.
Let's go for the right. I think that's a good choice. So that means that I need to get rid of this s. How do I get rid of that s?
You subtract.
Subtract s. Very good. See, there's nothing I could multiply by to get rid of the s, because I've got an s plus 3. The only thing I could do really to get rid of that is to subtract s. And whatever I do on the left, I got to do the same thing on the right. So the s's go away. I still have the 3. And then over here, I've got the negative 2. And what's 2s minus s?
S.
S. You've got the hang of this. So you have to do a plus s. Okay? Now, the problem is I still have a number on the right-hand side, right?
Yeah.
So I got to get rid of that number. How do I get rid of that number?
Add 2.
Add 2 to both sides. Very good. You're getting the hang of this, Bonnie. This is level 4, you know. So 3 plus 2 is 5, and you get s equals 5. It's funny that an s actually looks like a 5, the way I draw it especially. So maybe I could put a little Superman thing. All right, there we go. Let's do one last one. And then we'll go to sleep. Okay. Negative 90 equals 18 plus 18b. And the question is, what is b? So which side do you want to put the b's on?
Right.
Okay, there's no b's on the left, so we're okay with that. So what is the problem here in this equation? What's the biggest concern that we've got?
You
Deal
have
with?
18.
I have 18b. So how do I fix that?
You divide by
Divide
18.
divide by 18. Yes, that's a good thing to do. So when I divide by 18 on the left, and I divide by 18 on the right. Now, when you divide something like this, you need to divide both terms, right? It's like the distributive law. It's like multiplying by 1/18, and I got to distribute it through. You know what 90 divided by 18 is? Well, it's actually 5. So it comes out perfectly. And then this 18 would become a 1. And this, what's 18b divided by 18?
B.
Just b. Very good. Let it be. All right, and now this 1 is a problem now, isn't it? So
Yeah.
what do I do?
B minus
Then I minus 1. Subtract 1 from both sides. And I end up on the left with 4. Whoops, I ran out of room there. 4 on the left equals b. So b is 4. Let's just check to see if that works. If I plug in 4. Well, 18 times 4, see 18 times b, is 32. Carry the 3. 72. And then 72 is this part. 72 plus 18, let me add 18 here, is 90. Whoopsies. It was supposed to be negative 90. So I made a mistake. When I divided by 18, I forgot to carry the negative sign over. My mistake. I'm glad I checked that. This was supposed to be a negative 5, because a negative divided by positive is a negative. So then when I subtract 1, I get 6 as the answer. B is 6. All right. Let's check to see if that works. I gotta replace this in my checking work with 6. Whoa. Wait a minute. No, negative 6. Sorry, buddy. Negative 6, okay? Does that make sense? Because negative 5 minus 1 is negative 6. So I put in a negative 6 here. And then you get something completely different. You get, let's see, 8 times negative 6 is 8, carry the 4, 108, but that's a negative. So negative 108, and then I plus 18. Well, a negative plus positive, that means you subtract and make it negative. So you get 0, 90, negative, which is over here. Okay, anyway. Sorry about that mix-up at the end.